There's no psychological difference in someone espousing that viewpoint and a Christian espousing a viewpoint of heaven. To me, from my observation, my objective, impartial observation of reality, I have come to that conclusion. But
yeah, well, you didn't describe how you got to that conclusion, so it's kind of useless as an objective truth if you can't describe the logic behind it, and there is no logic behind it. To say that the two concepts, one concept of perfection and another concept of perfection, and to say they're the same thing because they're both concepts of perfection, but when they're completely built out of something completely different, I mean, that's just silly. It's just silly to say those two things are the same thing, and to say that's an objective conclusion that they're the same thing. I mean, it's idiotic.
At least I have the fucking humility to recognize that's my observation of reality. That's me forming equations of my experiences of reality and piecing it together into a conclusion that I know might not be a universal and absolute truth. Why?
Yeah, well, it's not about your experiences. So we're going to keep arguing this crap forever, but it needs to be argued. There are some truths that really aren't something you personalize. The fact that the Earth revolves around the sun is not a personal experience. Okay, it's a personal, understood fact. All right, it's understood as a fact, as a component of reality. And then when you add in a few more facts, like there is no intelligent creator, there is no evidence of intelligent design, that there are harsh and disgusting and brutal forces out there that have created environments that are just plain disgusting and abhorrent to anything that has any appreciation for the value of sentience. So obviously the machinery is not being regulated. There's no governor. There's nothing protecting it from going insane and creating an insane world. So there, we can add some more facts. Those are all facts, okay? Evolution's a fact. Natural selection's a fact. We have all the evidence we need to draw conclusions about these things, and you're going to keep pretending there's some fucking magic door out in the universe that you can find. And I say you're not going to find it ever.
Because I don't possess all the information in the universe. I don't possess all the experiences that can possibly exist in this universe.
And you never will. So what's your so you're saying that I will not draw any conclusions about reality because I can never be everywhere and feel everything and see everything and know everything, and therefore I can draw no conclusions. I mean, it's just idiotic.
Therefore, I know that anything that I can conclude logically is still a subjective conclusion.
Yeah, well, that's just plain silly. You know, there are premises we will exist in and by. We will adopt them. And rational people will adopt those premises. Yes, this is not a fake universe. Yes, that no one's playing with us. Yes, we're not puppets with invisible strings. Blah, blah. We can go down the list of these things. And so we're able to draw some conclusions about the validity or the probability of certain information being accurate and true. But it would be just silly to sit there and ignore what we know. It'd be stupid to go to the moon and figure out it's not made of cheese and then just say, well, we can't know for sure because maybe only the places we were on aren't made of cheese. Maybe the places we didn't land on are made of cheese. That would be just silly and stupid.
He claims to believe in this absolute knowledge. I was on Sitcom last week again, and it irritates me that I can't counter him because of this fucking lag issue.
What are you going to counter me with again? You don't counter me when we do talk. You just say, well, there's no truth to be defined. So there's a non-starter. We can't have a philosophical discussion because you will not philosophize from your intellect. You will only philosophize from your subject emotional standing in the world.
But he said that, you know, Anybody that's logical will come to the same conclusions as him. Why? Because he's objective and impartial. But he just doesn't fucking grasp this. He just...
No, it's not because I am objective and impartial, because that's the environment logic works in best. All right? It's not, you don't use logic, it's not a subjective device. By your definition, all intelligence should only be, its only purpose is to be used as some sort of scheming tool by our emotions or our subjective self. It's just some kind of utility that we pull out to gain what we want, or what we think we want, or what we feel we want, or some other bullshit. It's not. It can be a separate mechanical process. Thinking doesn't have to go through the filter of my personal disposition. People can think that way. They can think without having to emote about every fucking thought.
What you say to him, he cannot grasp. There are people with other experiences than him. And that's not just to say there are people who are missing experiences that he has, but he's missing experiences that they have too.
Well, what, like I said, experiences. Just get rid of that word. We're talking about information. All right, so yes, there's people that don't have information. There's people on Earth who don't know we landed on the moon. I'm sure they're out there, okay? But we all, we must concede that there'd be little point in having a philosophical conversation with somebody that ignorant. All right, so I'm just saying, if you have a common, a general knowledge base, if you are literate in the basic sciences that we and the understanding we've built out of that science, then you're quite capable of taking the information that we have available to us and drawing identical conclusions to mine. They don't have to come from me, they can come through you. But the only way a human being is ever going to see them is they have to suppress their own emotional disposition, because that addictive personality, that is the organism, that is the DNA built consciousness, is going to pervert their perception. It is going to make kittens cuter than fucking piglets.
He can't understand that. He can't get his mind round that idea that he might not know the answer to everything.
Not everything. That's the contest here. We don't have to know the answer to everything. We have to know we have to get the answers to the important questions, and I'm just arguing that we have enough information to compose those answers.
So that pisses me off. I mean, I feel sorry for people like that, but when they're so arrogant about it and they're so hateful about it, like he is.
Yeah, and like you are. I mean, you're arrogantly defending from your position the same way. Like I said, you're the one who characterizes anything that opposes your, whatever it is, fuzzy, warm and fuzzy view of reality, your attachment to subjectivity. You just draw the Hitler mustache on them. I mean, you haven't been as bad as the haters, but it's just, you do the same thing. You just turn it into Big Brother or some hierarchy theory or some other bullshit. So fuck you. Your arrogance is quite obvious also.
He thinks that I've wronged him in some way. He doesn't actually recognize the number of times he's wronged me in his videos.
Yeah, well, either way, I can only characterize you based on what you say, and what you say is ambiguous at best. So I think I have more excuse than you do. I've been quite explicit, and in spite of that explicitness, you still gone there. You still say, I can say democracy 7,000 times. I can say 3/4 vote 7,000 times, and you're still going to sit there and try to turn it into Stalin-esque Big Brother control freak bullshit.
He recognizes that we are all reactions to our environment. He recognizes that we are just the culmination of our experiences.
No, we're the culmination of our thought process, okay? It's not just about experiences, it's about ideas. And an idea can completely change how somebody perceives the world. It can create the mechanism of focus on a camera almost. It's almost the same thing. A little bit of information, one little thing can completely change the perception because it can make the thing work. It's like putting the batteries in a toy. I mean, it does nothing without them. And we can convey that through communication. So it is just complete bullshit to say I don't appreciate that, but it is also complete bullshit to say it isn't necessary to have the conversation, that people need to be inspired by ideas, that they can see things, but the only way sometimes they can see them is somebody has to provide them the pieces.
Not willing to fucking capitulate to the fact that people have different experiences.
Yeah, whatever. Like I said again, it's about ideas. It's about knowledge base. If they have a different knowledge base, then there's something broken in the world, okay? Because you really shouldn't be allowed to have a different knowledge base. The world either is round or it's not fucking round, all right? You're not allowed, everybody's not allowed to have their own opinion on that subject and be called a literate or competent philosopher. You're just not allowed to. You're not allowed to have fundamentally broken conceptions of reality and then say, I want to be in on the conversation. That's ludicrous.
You're just arguing from your visceral reaction, which is completely useless as a philosophical argument.